And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
I still remember the first time I played One Night Werewolf. This little Japanese game in which you played werewolf with a very small group of people. And I thought, wow, this is a clever little concept. I did not know it would turn into One Night Ultimate Werewolf, One Night Ultimate Werewolf Daybreak, spin-off into One Night Revolution, and now into One Night Ultimate Vampire. That is a lot of milking off of one game. And from the designer Ted Alsbach, who took this concept and ran with it. Now, if you've never played One Night Ultimate Werewolf before, that's fine. I am going to compare the two a lot because this game, One Night Ultimate Vampire, is essentially One Night Ultimate Werewolf 1.2. They say the games can actually be combined, and they have a lot of similarities about them. If you've never played one before, the other one before, that's fine. Before we get started, here's kind of a brief overview of how the game works. To play this game, you do not 100% need it, but you really should get a smartphone with the One Night app on it. And you'll notice that it says One Night Ultimate Werewolf Daybreak Vampire, because you can use it for all of them. You pick which set you're using, so I'm just using the Vampire, although you can mix it with Werewolf if you want. And you'll pick the roles that you've decided to use for that particular game. These are the 7 roles it recommends that you start with in a 4-player game. You're going to use 4 roles plus 3 more. You're going to use 1 role per player plus 3 more. You can even have these tokens that you can put out on the table so people know what roles are in the game. You can just set those to the side. You also have a bunch of marks over here. The ones that are turned face down are the ones that are active in the course of this game. These are going to be shuffled. Each player is going to get 1 dealt to them secretly, so you can look at yours. And then 3 are going to be placed in the middle. What are we? Ooh, we're the copycat. All right, so then there are 2 phases. There is a dusk phase and there is a dawn phase. Each player has 1 mark of clarity placed next to them, and they have a face-down card. And then if you're using this, someone can read it, but like I said, use the app, seriously. You pick the characters, you pick the timer, and I'm just going to run through one dusk/night of this app so you can hear it. Here we go.
Everyone, close your eyes. Copycat, wake up and look at one of the center cards. You are now that role. If that role is called, wake up and do that night action. Copycat, close your eyes. Vampires, wake up and look for other vampires. Give any non-vampire player a mark of the vampire. Vampires, close your eyes. Count, wake up and place the mark of fear in front of any non-vampire player. Count, close your eyes. Priest, wake up and give yourself a mark of clarity. You may also give any other player a mark of clarity. Priest, close your eyes. Everyone, wake up and secretly view your mark. Close your eyes. Marksman, wake up. You may view the mark of one player and the card of another player. Marksman, close your eyes. Pickpocket, wake up. You may exchange your mark with another player's mark and then view your new mark. Close your eyes. Gremlin, wake up. You may switch marks or cards between any 2 players. Gremlin, close your eyes. One Night Ultimate Werewolf and the world's your oyster. Everyone, keep your eyes closed and reach out and move your card and mark around slightly. Everyone, wake up.
All right, at this point a timer starts, so I picked a 2-minute timer here, and players have 2 minutes now to vote. So how does this work? Now, you saw me do some of the actions there, but it's kind of confusing because I'm trying to do all the actions myself. But essentially, players are trying to figure out who the vampire is. So after 2 minutes, they're all going to vote. So or you can just click vote now.
Time is up. Everyone. 3, 2, 1. Vote.
So everyone points at one person, and that person reveals it. If it's a vampire, then all the humans, all the non-vampires win. If it's not a vampire, then all the vampires win, if there are any. It's possible that the vampires are in the middle. If you have a vampire mark, where is the vampire mark? There it is. That means you're a vampire regardless of what your other role is. That fear marker that the count gives out, but the priest cleared it out. If you are going to look at your mark between the dusk and the night, and if you have fear, then you can't do anything at night, even if you typically would have an action at night. Now, if you think all the vampires, and that includes the count, are in the middle, and that's very possible, then everyone has to point to only one other person, just like a round robin. I point to my left, everyone points to their left. So nobody is killed. Everyone only got one vote, so it's a tie. If that's true, then the humans will all win together. However, if there's one vampire out there, he wins because no one caught him. So there's other things that can be involved. 2 people can be made to fall in love with the love tokens. The one player can give disease tokens out, and the diseased person is hit. They're going to lose. There's the master, an investigator. Cupid's the person who makes people fall in love. Renfield, the apprentice assassin. The disease and the assassin. So you can mix these up and add them in one at a time. There's different roles. You can add them all in if you want to. But of course, it's going to be much longer, and like I said, you can add in the Ultimate Werewolf characters. I mean, there's 21 roles there, which means you're playing a gigantic game. You simply need 1 role per game. And that's pretty much how you play One Night Ultimate Vampire. Well, I like the game, and I'm going to keep the game because my kids love this game. Now, they love One Night Ultimate Werewolf. One Night Ultimate Vampire, they were like, oh, that's cool. It's the same thing. I will say that if you force me to choose One Night Ultimate Werewolf over One Night Ultimate Vampire, or which one would I choose? I would choose Werewolf, and I'll tell you why. While I like the marks do add some interesting things to the game, it adds another level of fiddliness to this game. One Night Ultimate Werewolf, its charm is in its simplicity, in the whole factor of, okay, you're the werewolf. Okay, now wait a minute. If you said you're the werewolf, and you said you were the hunter, and you said you were this, I think it's them, they're lying, and it's back and forth, and the game's over very quickly. Same exact thing here. Games are still over quickly, but there's these tokens now. So it's like, okay, you're the priest, and you were a vampire. And that's kind of cool. I mean, it's cool to have the marksman token on, the assassin token on you, or you're diseased, and it adds some fun flavor to the game. But this is essentially just another expansion for One Night Ultimate Werewolf, and it's kind of like, hey, here's the cool expansion I want to play. You're like, yeah, that was pretty fun. Let's go back and play the original one again. This is just basically more roles, but it does add in those marks, which adds another level of moving stuff around on the table. Now, because it adds more moving stuff on the table, when I play One Night Ultimate Werewolf, we already have to do the whole, everyone has to tap on the table, because if you hear people moving, that can kind of give away who they are. Well, now you have to be tapping on the table for a longer period of time because you're tapping at dusk and during night. Now, that's not the end of the world, but it needs to be done, and some people don't like it, especially if you're at the table next to them playing a quieter game, I suppose. I don't mean to come down hard on this, and I do like it, and I am hanging on to it. It's just that I don't think this was necessary at all. How many people were sitting around going, oh, I'm so sick of One Night Ultimate Werewolf and One Night Ultimate Werewolf Daybreak and all the extra promo characters that you can get everywhere, and One Night Revolution. I wish there was more. Was there people out there thinking that? Maybe there was. I was not one of those. I'll keep it and we'll play it, but if it wasn't for my kids, I wouldn't, because I would say enough is enough. I have enough of the game as it is. Maybe you don't, and maybe you like vampires better than werewolves. Well, if that's the case, then get this one over werewolves. Even though, I mean, honestly, functionally, and the vampire and werewolf, and then you can mix them together. I've not done that yet because I was over the rules and I was like, woo, that starts getting crazy. There's a werewolf team and a vampire team and people who may not be on teams, and you can take this game, which is a fairly simplistic game, and really complex it up by adding in a lot of people But you can't add too many people because you have to be able to fit around a table and reach and get to other people's cards anyway. I still think One Night Ultimate Werewolf works really well with 3, 4, and 5. I love those numbers. If I go above 6, if I'm at 7, 8, or 9, I'm just going to play Werewolf. Or maybe Resistance, but probably Werewolf. Anyhow, lots of different thoughts there. I think this game will sell. I think a lot of people will get it. But I don't think people are going to play this and go, oh, wow, One Night Ultimate Werewolf, this is the killer of that. No. And I said Revolution was the killer of it for me. But my kids still prefer this particular genre. So this is more cool stuff. Just, I don't think we were asking for it. Dice Tower Judgment, approved!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.